Hello and welcome back to What the Flag. Look, we are gonna have a Fiesta Bowl recap. Yes, it's 10 degrees, 9 degrees outside, which is about like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, but you're still cold.
Always. The weather can be deceptive. It's been sunny, but there's no cloud cover, so don't be fooled by the sun. It is absolutely freezing outdoors. And it doesn't help if you go like out and you go to the gym. And yesterday I made the mistake of obviously just wearing a jumper and I didn't take my jacket because I got gassed by the hot weather. And anyway, when I came out of the gym, not so gassed, absolute mucho frio actually, really cold. It was not a great time. Although I don't know why you're smiling, Kenny, because you're sitting there in your hoodie in your house, so you must also be cold.
That's not my listen. It's the sun catching people out is a running theme. So I'm absolutely. I've got socks on, slipper but I think a part of that is also just age on my part. I think I'm going to be one of those guys that's just always cold. Thank you for keeping comments to yourself. I appreciate it. But yeah, cold
But
weather.
that's why, I mean, post gym, like you are sweating, you're feeling yourself, like, and then you walk outside and it is like you have never felt so cold in your life. It is wild the way that I know, Kenny, you don't know what sweat is, so it's confusing. But for those of us that are sweaty little people,
I
when
feel
you hit the cold, it is like you've been in an ice box and you've done no hard work. It's terrible.
It's grim. And it's the back that's worse, especially
Oh,
if you've got to get back in the car and then you got
oh,
to lay back in the seat really, really slowly because it's so cold.
oh.
right. I don't know what you're talking about, but isn't it quite a fresh feeling when you come out of this? Because the gym can get like depending on the gym you go to. I used to go to this fitness first, whatever, 24-hour gym, but it was like underground. So it used to get, the air feels close in the gym and then you come out. And I'm like, oh, it's quite fresh and nice. I don't know about all the cool stuff that you guys are.
It's not hot enough yet to have that. Like my gym has aircon, but because it's still quite cold out, the aircon's still quite cold. When it starts to get hot, then the aircon just starts blowing out hotter. Then all of a sudden you'll be outside, you'll be like, oh wow, outside. But at the moment, no, 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 it's just too cold. I want real summer.
Uh,
Kenny, have you been able to experience any real summer or no? You still just
yeah, yeah.
been.
Listen. PSA. I think my hay fever is gone. Well, not gone, but I feel like it's calmed down. It's calmed down a lot because it's actually 2 weeks in a row now. 2 weeks in a row, yes. That I've been to Hyde Park, back training with the London Rebels. Whoop, whoop, best
Hmm.
team in London. And I'm out there, no asthma pump, no antihistamines.
Wait, you need
No,
asthma pump when you have hay fever?
oh, yeah.
He's got
Like
like,
That's so
yeah.
bad.
dramatic.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I'm probably like wheezing, chest closing off, everything. But I'm hoping I still get the odd like fit. I call it a fit of hay fever, just like a good 10-minute burst of everything, and then it calms down again, and I'm like, I'm good to go. So fingers crossed, I'm growing out of it. But the has been nice, blue skies. Like and I got a notification as well today saying it's supposed to get warmer. So fingers crossed. I think the weather's going to be better. But sorry, I have to. I promised I'd say it. I don't. We don't normally shout out people. I'm going to shout out Brian Tabor, who from the London Rebels, who has some plays that I'm going to be stealing for the Spanish women's team because yes, very interesting, very intriguing, thinking outside the box. And I promised him, he said I could use the plays if I shouted him out on the pod. So there we go. Promise
I mean,
fulfilled.
he always, when we, not to like rub salt in the wound, it was before we played you, before you were coach, sorry, at the Europeans in Limerick. I remember we had just drawn up, like Jack had just drawn up a play on the sideline, the one that we scored on to win the game. And I remember Ryan just like messaged immediately, drew up the play and everything of what we ran because we kept flipping it and sent that away. So yeah, he is no stranger to drawing up a play
Brilliant.
that either will beat Spain or Spain will steal.
I do love a good
Interesting,
play that you can just flip back and forth in it and it works both sides. Oh, crispy.
Hmm.
interesting take on that about Spain. But anyway, yes, but no, it's been good to be out and about. It's been good to get practicing again. But Phoebe, you were in the States. The whole reason for this episode.
Do you know where in the States?
I know it was dusty. I know it's red. I know exactly where you were. Don't test me. You were in Arizona, in the desert. I know these things. I know
Tempe, Arizona.
Arizona.
Tempe, Arizona. My first adventure in Tempe, Arizona. Yeah, it was honestly, so we're out there for Fiesta Bowl. So it was the first ever Fiesta Bowl Flag Football Classic powered by Oakley. Shout out our guys out at Oakley. And my new Oakley Metas. Yes, yes.
Yes, yes. On three. Where's mine? Okay. One, two, three.
Where's
Where's
mine?
the
First off,
Couldn't
Kenny has
wait.
them.
Couldn't
where's
wait.
So
the
yes, I appreciate you. But they're like in this like I don't know if I love the name. Light Curry is what they're called. So we'll work on the name.
Ah,
But
okay, okay.
and they transition. So I'm like fully one of those older people who wears
When
lenses.
you get into like a dark room, you're like, huh.
Yes, I was trying. I was trying. So yeah, it was the first ever for Division 1 women's college flag football. And we had 8 teams from across the states, pretty much like an east-west. Yes, Kenny Bello.
East West. Sorry, just can we just what is Fiesta Bowl for those who don't know or who might not be au fait with like college sport? What is Fiesta Bowl? What is that and why is
Fiesta
it so?
Bowl is one of the, well, there's a few different bowls. Like you get like Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl. They're just like different qualifications essentially. And you have a big tournament or a big celebration, should say, which usually accumulates, well, which does accumulate in a game. But it's like an honor. It's like, you have to compete to be able to play in the bowl. And then there's lots of like bonuses that kind of come from it, you know, besides the fact that you say you got to play in a bowl game, like that's a big deal. But also they really do treat people right. And I think one of the things, so Scott Lightman, who's just the nicest human ever, works with the Fiesta Bowl Foundation and, really was so clear that they wanted the experience to be exactly the same for the women as it was for the men. Like tackle flag doesn't matter. They wanted everything to be the same. So from the second that you are at the airport and you take this escalator to the baggage claim, they call the members, the volunteers, they call them the yellow jackets because they literally wear yellow jackets, the YJs. And so they're all greeting the teams. They have signs, they've got everything, like the excitement builds. They get a bus to the hotel. Everyone stays in the same hotel. So we were at this lovely hotel and they arrived and had like a red carpet and cheerleaders. They had a rapper that was like rapping songs for each of the schools, um, photos, all of that. And then once they like check in, then they get kind of put through like what you'd call like a car wash, basically, like a media day. So you have multiple media outlets that they're interviewing with, like, one team at a time. Maybe it's a couple captains and a head coach. They have a player lounge, so they had super cool stuff in there. Obviously, everyone got Oakleys. They had like Dance
Obviously,
Dance
obviously.
Revolution set up. They had a makeup bar. They had like a glitter bar. They had like people had donated this like really great setting spray for makeup for the girls. They each team had its own bag section, so they had all these goodies they got in their bags. I mean, the list kind of went on and on, snacks, all that good stuff. And then once they did all their media day stuff, they had like headshots, they had like full media experience, and then at night we did a welcome dinner. So Nick Scott, who is the chair, I mean, loved him, his energy, and he kind of like ended it just being like, you know, you showed up, now you gotta show out and kind of challenge the girls. I got to do a panel with Scott Lightman, just like a little bit of a Q&A, which was great. And then the next day it was already game time. So Kyle Bailey and myself, Kyle does some of the calls for USA Football. He was at OIA with us as well. He was play by play. I did color commentary, but day one was kind of pool play ultimately. So we got to see all 8 teams compete. And then day two were semis, like quarters, semis, and finals. And then we did semis, one of the semis and the finals championship game. So, but it was impressive. Like we did the semifinal game and then literally moved all the equipment, all of the TV, everything, like all the recording stuff over to a different stadium to have the finals in a huge stadium, all within a 50-minute window.
Oh
So
wow.
it was quick. It was very quick, but it was, the athletes were phenomenal. I think they had a whole like players lounge outside, like AC. It was 92 degrees. So that's what, like 30 something, almost 40 degrees.
A bit warmer.
Yeah. And they had their like an air conditioned player lounge they could sit in outside. They had a whole recovery thing with like physios, athletic trainers, ice tubs. Um, they had like ice baths. They had, all of the like Normatec kind of leg compression, anything that you needed, those girls got as they should. It was amazing. I think they sold 2,000 tickets for the 2 days.
Oh wow. That's huge. I mean, thank you for the rundown. Like it's really good to get an idea. Because I was gonna jump in and ask the stuff that you were kind of talking about, was it just kind of for VIPs or did all the players get that experience? But it sounds like that was all the players.
Yeah, all the players got all that.
Wow,
Players,
that's really
coaches.
it's really and what colleges were there? Just I don't know if you remember how many
So
off the top of your head.
Alabama State, Arizona State, Charlotte, uh, Grand Canyon University, Georgia Bulldogs, uh, University of Central Florida, the Florida Gators,
Oh wow.
and I know I'm missing one, and I can't. I will come to me in a second.
Because I mean, some of those colleges are quite big names in on the football
Oh,
college scene. So
huge!
the fact that there's a
I mean,
flag
there's a
seat to go
yeah,
with it, yeah, it's gonna
Florida,
be
Georgia. We're playing like that's a huge
yeah.
matchup, in
Wow.
tackle football.
And did
Like
people buy into it the same way? Do you feel like, or is it still quite a new growing scene in that regard?
buy into it in what sense?
It's in the way that there may be the college rivalries, the big unis playing each other. Was it seen in that same way, or is it kind of this is a new
Yeah, I mean,
sport?
they all have their fight songs. They all were representative of the universities. I mean, like they are proud students, right? Whether it's flag or whatever else, like they were proud to represent their colleges, their universities. Like it was it was just great to see. I need to remember who I have not.
Who you've missed. Well, while she's looking for that, one of the things, yes, that Phoebe mentioned was kind of around the fact that in these lounges there was like makeup bars and
Oh,
stuff.
USC Trojans, duh. One of
Oh,
the bigger
huh.
colleges. Sorry,
Yeah.
USC.
One of the things that Phoebe mentioned was that there were these kind of makeup bars. It's just a spray that keeps everything on. Was why I
That's
picked
a
up.
spray.
Thank you. But it's really interesting, right? That the markets that women's sport opens up to. And I kind of wanted to get your take on like how does that how can that be utilized? How can that be turned into a thing that helps push the sport where it's like, oh, because it's women's sport, we can actually go and market in these places.
Um, I think it like depends on what companies go to these events. Like for me, it's a huge appeal if you go somewhere and they're like, "Oh, look at all this stuff you can get to like make you look pretty on game day." Because I know like it sounds really shallow, but and I don't mean it to in that sense, but like sometimes on game day, like you want to be able to look your best. Like I'm thinking of athletics is probably the best way to like describe it. Like you think of your sprinters and you think how they get their hair done like so perfectly and they have their makeup on and it's so nice that you have these brands that are willing to work with and provide all of these like resources for you to be able to like show up and be your absolute best self. Like for some athletes that's what you need, that's what you like.
So being peak man, and I'm hearing it, but because I think there's a fear, I would be afraid to kind of be like, oh, women want to look good because I think there's like you kind of commented, there's a potential shallow element to it where
Absolutely.
I'm like, as a male fan of women's sports, someone could argue, oh, why do they care what they look like? It's about the performance element, you know?
You guys look
So
good, feel good, play good. I mean, surely
exactly. And
guys
media.
get a shape up. They go get their hair done before they're on
No,
like
no, we don't. No, that's just me. That's just me.
your opinion in that matter is not
But
valid.
also, there's so much media there. Like Phoebe was saying, they basically, spent a whole day like doing media, like press and everything like that. And I know, there's there's nothing worse than sometimes looking back on some of like your interviews or your tapes and thinking like, oh bloody hell, look at my hair, or like I know that doesn't sound great, but like in a when you're performing like at that level and you know you're going to get the media attention and the media attraction, like you want to look your best. Like ultimately you are a business when it comes to like this level of sport. Like how you present yourself at any stage of the sport, whether that's before the game, during the game, after the game, like that is you, that is your brand. So if there are, brands, especially beauty brands, that are willing to help you to do that, like fabulous. I mean, I'd even go as far, like I know Phoebe is definitely someone who has experienced this, but before a game, like everyone having to plait everyone's hair because everyone wants their hair to look good for game day. And like I'd even go as far to say, like, hey, did they have those services there? Like that'd be great if they had like, braiding or like hair services as well as like the makeup. So you've got a bit of both. And I mean, hey, there's probably millions more things that you could do or add to it, but it's a really good start, that they're helping you sort of
And
build that brand.
I'm poking the bear a bit here, but what do you say to those then that are like, there's no space for that in sport? Like, why are we faffing with hair?
But
Like,
who are
just
these people? Like like legit, who are these people? Because also it's not for I'm interrupting Yaz. It's not for anyone else to tell me or Yaz or any woman or any man how they should look when they're performing. And also, like it is so much better when I don't have to think about what does my hair look like? Hey, it's done for me. That is
Mhm.
one less thing as an athlete that I have to consider. I don't have to worry about it. Like I know when I put my head down as a center, my hair is braided, it's staying out of my face, it's not gonna interfere with my performance. And so that's a real piece around it as well. But like if you want to look like you look at the different fads, I know we talk about like athletics, like nails are a really big thing, like or even at the Olympics, everybody had their nails done. They were all, and that was like a real thing. First off, why can you not be feminine and be great at sports? Like, there's nothing that says you have to choose. And I think there's also an element of like, if, right now in flag, whether it's hair braiding, glitter, the like Ash Clam with her sparkle freckles, like it's a way for you to give a piece of yourself in a sport that's about team. Like show a little bit of who you are and personality. And I don't like if you feel good and that makes you feel good and you play great because of that, I think it's great. Sorry,
okay,
yes, I
fair
interrupted
enough.
you.
And,
No,
I
no,
was heated about it.
well,
not at all.
and to be fair, it wasn't wholly a kind of feminist piece because I've absolutely lost his name, which is embarrassing. Sprinter who like paints his nails up like same as Caleb Williams, right? Sometimes paints his
Mhm.
nails.
No,
Um,
Noah Lyles, who just got married.
He just got married.
Hmm.
oh look,
Bless
rip
you.
Stephen.
Controversial.
I
People
said all
didn't
of that.
like how
Hey,
he
Phoebe's
looked at
back.
his wife, but it's fine.
Oh yeah, they were
But
saying
to,
that he wasn't like excited enough when he turned around for the first look.
so I'm
Did
just
you do a first look? Yes.
Oh no, no, no! But I didn't need to because Totally cried. What? Cut of it.
Roll the tape.
no, yeah, yeah. I think that's super cool. I think that whole story brought me back to a flashback. Played a game for the Birmingham Lions early doors as a tackle player.
Mm.
Um, and rest his soul, Kevin Cadle was there. So he
Which
came and I was MVP of that game. So it's kind of a running theme here. I kind of did my
the
thing.
most
Rookie
important people in your
QB
life you
came
meet when
out,
you're an MVP.
threw two touchdowns, ran another one in for like 75 yards. It was a great day at the office. But Kevin Cadle interviewed me. Relax, relax, thank you. Kevin, he interviewed me at the end, and as you do, I had a do-rag on under my helmet. So they're like, oh, you got to do an interview. I've taken the helmet off. Do-rag is still on. No one tells me. I see with my mother, I'm watching Sky Sports and I see, you know when the lace, the band of the do-rag is here, but the actual, yeah,
Kelly just
I'm,
the
No.
forehead.
I'm quite blessed. I'm quite blessed in the forehead department anyway. So I'm just there like there's this gap where my do-rag band is here all tied up and that's how they let me go. And I was like,
You got no
Kevin's there
friends.
interviewing me. So I'm like, you could see that I had a gap. The cameraman could see that.
If only you
Wayne
had
Hill
some
was
setting
there, could see
spray.
I had a gap. No one told me.
Mm.
Nightmare. So I'm fully for the look good, feel good,
But
play.
also think of all the tackle people that wear bicep bands, sleeves. Like that's why it's like they're not. I'm not being funny. Most of the people that wear bicep bands, it's not helping your game. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
It's true.
We're not
100%.
adding anyone. We're not adding anyone.
no,
No.
but I'm
Yeah, I
just
am.
like
Don't worry about it.
flag swag is real. Flag swag is real. Let flag
And
swag live.
two final points. I think the one thing that kind of where flag stands a better chance is or stands better off is because in the NFL, tackle football, the helmets, it's really hard to recognize players.
Hmm.
I think flag offers the opportunity to be recognizable and be great within the sport. But I just have one more question for you. If you had to pick one thing, what do you think is the biggest thing that the girls took away from this camp? Win or lose, I don't think I'm fairly sure it wouldn't be that, but what's the thing that they took away? What would they?
I mean, it was a tournament, so like I think everyone was really excited to get on the field and compete. But I think it's the community ultimately. Like I loved all 8 teams from across the country. Most of them never met each other before, all sharing the same space day in and day out. Myself, Kyle getting to hang out with them as well, learning their stories. I think the memories that were made and like they had a on the welcome dinner, Nick Scott, the chair, kind of was like, I can't wait for 50 years from now to be able to see all of you and you guys remember what was built. Like, so the Fiesta Bowl was built at, I think he said in 1971. Like 6 founders or 8 founders came together and created the Fiesta Bowl. And that was the first ever Fiesta Bowl, and it was unbelievable. And then 2026, well, now these 8 schools have come together believing in something that they'd never known of or like never participated in, and they became the first 8 to make history ultimately. Because there's no way, I mean, Div 1, NCAA have it as an emerging sport. Like it's going to take over, but there's always got to be a first. And I think
Yeah.
that was super cool to kind of be in that room and think like, all right, this is this is bigger than all of us, right? Like this is the future. And, Big 12 have already started talking about having flag football. And it's, I think that idea that like everybody there was a part of history, like no one will ever take that away, whether you won, lost, whatever. Like that is part of the sisterhood that drives it forwards.
That's amazing. And off the back of that, if we were to helicopter up a bit and look at kind of flag on a global scale or what I would call a universal scale, like kind of for everyone. The format that was played at Fiesta Bowl was sevens, right? 7-on-7, which is it's on a longer field. So like I think it's like 70 yards, maybe 80-yard field. It's a bit wider than your flag field, but a bit narrower than a full tackle field, right? 40 yards wide.
Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. So if you had to choose one universal format for flag football, is it fives or is it sevens, and why? And we're not going to go to the resident expert first. Yes, I'm coming to you first. What do you think? Fives or sevens? But you have to say why.
Sevens, because
Quick.
more participation, more players, bigger rosters, more involvement in the sport. Sevens.
Ah,
I know you're going to say fives.
no, no, no.
Are you going to argue with
Like
me?
a
I am
Argue with
going to
me.
say fives. It's not from a point of. I am going to say fives, but it's not from a point of view of arguing necessarily. I think I'm just a bit of a fives purist, right? Because um, sevens, because when you play tackle practice, you have like on-air sessions, which is basically like 7-on-7
Mhm.
type deal. And I think there's that link there, right? So quite an easy link from kind of tackle to flag in that sense. But for those everything we've seen recently, the Fanatics Flag Football Classic and so on and so forth, flag, the 5-on-5 IFAF version is a different sport, right?
Mhm.
So I think the question maybe starts to wander down the path of, do we want something that is a shaving off of tackle, or do we want something that is uniquely different? And the other thing I will add, and I said I had a bit of a rebuttal to the more numbers, more roster sizes, is actually what if you're in situations where participation numbers are low,
Mhm.
and so you're struggling to make up because for sevens you probably need a squad of 12 at least, ideally. I would venture, ideally 14, maybe up to 16, 18. But what if you're in places where numbers are lower and therefore you can't play sevens?
But can't you make it a sport like that's adaptable? So like
No,
think
no. So
think
for the purposes
football
of
power
this,
league.
For the purpose of this discussion,
Yes.
fives or sevens, you have to get in one boat.
No,
The
sevens is still where I'm at.
is still Phoebe.
So
Well, I don't know, where's
Well,
Phoebe
why
gonna
don't
go?
you go next?
Pardon?
Why don't you go next?
I said that fives. It would
You
be
just,
fives
that's
to me.
it.
Fives to me,
Why?
purest, lower numbers, so it's easier to facilitate. You can operate with squads of 10, as we're going to see in the Olympics, squads of 12. I think we see the Scottish guys do Ironman type, which is squads of 7 or 8, depending on how they lay it out. So you don't need as much, which is kind of sitting under that flag umbrella of you don't need all the equipment, you don't need as many players, you don't need, it's easier to facilitate then and a simplified version of the rules because it's the one line to gain and then it's the end zone. There are lots of things that make it more simple. I think the complaints, it's really interesting that when you try to bring American football to a new market, the new market complain about all the rules and there's so many things. And
Mm,
when you try to bring flag to an established market,
mm.
people complain about the nuances and oh, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. What can you do? And it's I think there are kind of complaints everywhere, but actually flag 5-on-5 flag is still the simplified version. It is the simple version because we expect the kids to play it, right? So it should be
I feel like, but the way you say like fives, I feel like the reason you've given is because it's like more simple. And I feel like, I know it's not intended this way, but I feel like it discredits actually how difficult a sport is. I think maybe in that way, maybe sevens is better because it has more rules.
oh my chest. Yeah, no, not at all.
No, it's because your last part of your argument. I'm not saying that was your total argument. The last part of your argument is very much like rules. It's simplified fives. Da da da. Like there's nuances that come
Because
to sevens. Da da
probably
da.
it's because
But I
what we're
think the
talking about.
skill. Why aren't we up in the skill set? Why aren't we being like, yeah,
The skill
more
sets
rules?
are the skill sets. So you still have to be able to throw, you still have to run routes, defense especially, you still have to be like incredibly hot on your feet and so on and so forth. But the discussion here is from a universal standpoint. And if it's gonna go universal, simplifying it is the natural answer. You're not gonna go global by making it more complex. It's got to be simplified. And that's not anyone that wants to do more and wants to go further can go and venture into tackle and sevens and whatever. But that's not you don't need that for fives.
I would just say after last weekend, I mean, I've obviously seen fives before. I think to watch that much of it and be a part of it, I have a newfound respect for sevens.
Mm.
I mean, I played fives contact, which has a blocker, and I played like sevens before, but I think I struggled with some of the time. So like we shortened the half times, but technically you would have four 15-minute quarters and a 15-minute halftime. And
Ooh.
that's very long.
Which is
Very long.
basically at the same timing as the tackle game. Is it a pro clock or a running clock?
It's only pro the end of the first half and end of the game.
Okay, 2 minutes,
2 minutes.
same deal.
Yeah,
So
2 minutes.
it would still feel
That's pretty long to
probably
facilitate.
it would still feel probably shorter than a full tackle game, but actually, you know, not by that much. So each game would have taken about 2 hours then, I reckon, about
It's a long, yeah, you allotted 90 minutes essentially per
the
game.
game. Wow. A
Yeah.
15-minute halftime.
Go on, yes.
Okay, plot twist. Five rules, five's rules, but seven players.
Which is
Well,
it's go on, Phoebe.
no, I was just gonna say I thought it was interesting. There was a couple who were like fives purists. So like
Mm.
Emma Clark, who played for UCF. I mean, she's part of um, the Texas Fury and been playing for ages. She's one of a few that have played fives before. But not many of them utilized like the flag evasive moves,
Mm.
which I thought was interesting. It was just kind of like they were fast in space, but not many of them were like dipping or flipping their hips or anything like that, which I thought was interesting.
So I'm gonna say something controversial here.
Oh, shock.
I know, right? I'm like, how much trouble am I gonna get in for saying this?
We'll cut it if it's really bad.
The USA women's team aren't the best movers by comparison to their men's team. So I watched the USA men's team, and the way they move is they have multiple players that move, but the level of their movement is far and away from any other
I
country.
think they're quite flamboyant.
It's just different. Some of the joint strength required to pull off some of the moves they pull is wild, right? But then by comparison, the women's flag team compared to the rest of the world in women's flag, I would argue that there are better movers in terms of evasive maneuvers, etc., in the rest of the world. Just my opinion, my own. It's actually not fully thought through. Don't at me, please.
Okay, question then. If they were better movers in the sense that they moved a bit more, fluidly, like the men do you think they'd be first in the world as opposed to second? Do you think it would change their game?
I think that's definitely one of the things. So if you the games they played against Mexico specifically, off the top of my head, I can think of at least kind of 2, maybe even 3 plays where Mexico catch the ball with defenders in the vicinity and are able to make moves, beat defenders, and score. Whereas that's not something that comes to mind from the USA team. So if I'm going to use that as a reason why, is that what makes the difference? It could be. I'm sitting on the fence, but you asked the question, yeah, I do. I feel like you threw me in a way of the bus there, but yeah,
no.
it's just
hypotheticals, guys. All hypotheticals.
Because I'm, it's kind of looking, and that would be interesting. It would be great to know, like people listening, who are the best female flag players, who are the best evasive or the most evasive players. It would be interesting to know, and we can then put countries alongside those and see where they come from. But yeah, I don't know.
We'll leave you with those little gems for now, as this was a short version, our short little catch up. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us again for more What the Flag. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Later.